good morning and good evening, depending upon where you are in the world. I'm Diana Falzone, and this is the Diana Falzone Show on Paltalk every Thursday at 11 a.m. EST. Things have been tough for everyone around the world, and particularly the United States has seen a recession. One that has really changed the scope of what's going on, not only in our financial situations, but also with our interpersonal relationships. There's been a lot of stress, and stress is never necessarily a healthy thing for someone's relationship. For those of you out there who are saying, you know what, I'm struggling from economic distress, I'm not sure how to handle it, well, we've brought in the one, the only, Dr. Judy Karansky, who has written a book about the economy and stress and sex. That's very important. Dr. Judy, thank you for being here.
Oh, it's a pleasure, Diana. And you're right. In these tough economic times, people's love life and their sex life goes one or two directions. For some, it goes the same way as the Dow Jones or the Nikkei index or whichever, because we've got indexes of economic strain all over the world. And the saying goes, as the Dow Jones goes, so do men's erections. Ew.
Is that no?
So that's a real serious problem. But that doesn't just affect men then, because women are major earners now, sometimes the sole earner, and so their sex drive and their sex interest also is up and down with the financial situation.
Right. For those of you right now who are saying, I need help, I don't know how to deal with the stress of the economy going downward and my romantic relationships as well decreasing, this is the time to raise your hands at Paltalk, in Paltalk, and to ask questions, because we have a specialist here. So if you've been wondering how to get through it, how to cope, this is the time to ask your questions. And if you do not have a mic, don't fret. You can simply IM your messages in, and Alan will happily send them our way, and your questions will be answered. Now, Dr. Judy, what have you been seeing in terms of the wider scope of people dealing with the economy and how stressful it is and what's happening to relationships? You're saying it's going two ways.
Yes, it's going two ways. Well, one thing for sure is that it's making couples talk a lot more together, because they have to deal with their finances. And the interesting thing is that people are talking about their finances. Now, this didn't happen before, because talking about how much money you have or don't have used to be even more secret than talking about sex.
Right.
That people would not say how much they have in the bank or what their savings are or what they're doing with their money. And so even friends are now talking about their money when they would easily talk about their orgasms or, you know, how many they've had or how good they are or what the big O is. Now all of a sudden you have women and men sharing about their finances. Men always talked about what they were investing in, but women doing that. So that's one change I've noticed. The other is that some people, as we've seen in the news, have taken it as far as being massively depressed. And even those shocking cases where, remember, in Los Angeles, for those of you who are around the world, here in Los Angeles, there was a couple who ended up murdering their children and themselves. Now, that is, please, the most distress, but I have to tell you, that's the range of good communication versus massive suicidal depression, like the depression when people got to.
Oh, right. And I remember hearing stories about in the Great Depression people jumping out their windows.
Absolutely. That's what they did. So it's so important that your listeners and viewers, obviously, and all the people participating on the show through the internet know that, yes, times are tough, but you have to then say, you know what, this is the good part. I'm not the only one in this boat. It's the one thing if you clicked on the internet and lost all your money because you made the wrong decision. Some people are thinking, I made the wrong decision, I should have gotten off, out earlier. But there are a lot of sane people in the boat, and that is the one thing that makes people feel better, besides faith in that things will get better.
Right.
I
mean, even big celebrities like Kevin Bacon and Kira Sedgwick, who have had millions in the bank, apparently they've lost nearly all of it. And when you look at a couple like that, and there was this great picture of them eating an ice cream cone, and someone said, look at this couple who had everything, who's obviously, they're not advanced in age, but they're not spring chickens where they're going to be able to recoup that kind of money that they've made over a lifetime. And they're eating an ice cream cone and saying, you know what, money is money. We'll figure a way. We'll get by.
Well, that's a good example because we often look to celebrities for examples.
A little bit.
You take a look at the Madoff scandal that everybody knows around the world.
My goodness.
Billions of dollars were lost. Steven Spielberg even lost billions of dollars. We think of him as being, sitting on Easy Street. So from a sexual point of view, too, this also happened after 9/11, after major crises, and after even the earthquake in San Francisco.
Right.
9 months later, after this was in 1989, there was an earthquake in San Francisco, and there's been earthquakes and tsunamis and all these kinds of things, that there were more births in the hospital because, again, people go one of either way. Either some people have, that's it, I have no sex drive, I'm not interested in sex, or there is something called end of the world sex, where you just say, you throw up your hands. It's called, or apocalyptic sex. How do you like that?
Apocalyptic sex? Can you imagine that being a line in a bar?
Right.
Hey, pretty lady, you, me, apocalyptic sex.
Right.
You're like, what? Seriously? Apocalyptic sex is what? Is that just like grasping for feeling alive? I mean, what is it actually?
Exactly. You're always so smart. You're always so smart.
Yes,
it is. You know what? The end of the world could end tomorrow. Everything could blow up, and so I might as well have a good time. Now, that's fine for people who are in a good relationship or who are married, but it's not a good time for deciding you're going to have casual sex or not using protection. Right, so that's the bad part about it. But the other trend that you asked me what I've noticed that I really like, Diana, is that people who are in bad relationships have decided, well, you know something? If this is really bad times, I don't need to be suffering besides in my pocketbook with this relationship that's bad. If you're being abused and not mistreated well, and so they throw up their arms and they say, I'm out of this, and I say, thank you, finally, whoa, you finally got the message.
Right.
So that's some of the good and the good models.
The good models of that. We have Jim from Michigan. Alan, do we still have Jim?
Okay, thank you very much. I look at economy two different ways. First of all, the economy's what provides you with the home you like, the neighborhood you like, and the car you like. But when you're married, as I will have been for 35 years this June, it's a priceless relationship. If I have less money, that never means my wife will want me less, want to share with me less, want to be less of a companion. To me, that's more important than any stock in the world. We have stock in each other, and that's more important.